there's an elephant in the room right now that is affecting Brandon Ayuk's contract, that's affecting Trent Williams' contract, because the 49ers understand, and Jed York even understands, because he was already talking about Brock's contract over around the Super Bowl. What does Brock Purdy have to show this season in order to earn a massive extension with the 49ers? And has he already shown enough to where Jed York, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan are already going to open the wallets for him?
That's a good question. I think Jed York's ready, but Kyle Shanahan's different, and you never really know what's up his sleeve or what he's planning or what he wants. I think he's already done enough. Like, you compare his resume to Tua's, you could argue that Brock's is better. He hasn't played as much football as Tua, but he's done more in the playoffs. I mean, his numbers are better. His resume is better, shorter, but better. And Tua was getting 55. So, if I were Purdy's agent, I'd be saying, like, this guy is worth 56. And then next year, the cap goes up 10, 12, 13%. So he'll probably be worth 65. That's crazy. From the agent's perspective, that's what he's worth. From the Niners' perspective, like, absolutely not. Like, you are a very good quarterback, not a great quarterback, not an elite quarterback. Here's 45. That's more than enough. That's what Kirk Cousins is getting. We think you guys are in the same tier. And then that's where things could get weird. What if they're $20 million a year apart and the Niners offer is more than fair? Like, I wouldn't pay him $65 million a year. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, 2 or 3 quarterbacks should get that. And the problem with the NFL is that, like, 14 quarterbacks will get that. And the 12 teams that are spending on that shouldn't be are probably in, mediocre purgatory.
I want to say, like, the top 8 to 10 quarterbacks that are, as far as in pay right now, are not nearly as accomplished. Maybe one of them compared to Brock Purdy. Yeah. That makes things interesting.
Like, Jordan Love just got $56 million a year for, like, half a good season.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, like, Purdy has a really easy argument that he should be the highest paid player in the league when he gets his extension. And I just don't see the Niners giving him that. And we have maybe he wins the Super Bowl, wins the MVP, and it's a freaking no-brainer. But short of that, I could see, look how contentious it's been between Brandon and the 49ers. Why wouldn't it be that way with Brock? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe because he's white. I'm just kidding. I didn't want to go there. But maybe he's like, you know what? Christian, Brock, we like you. We'll get it in 2 weeks. No problem. It's bad optics. Christian wanted an extension 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I had never thought of this.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying the Niners are racist because they're obviously not. Of course they're not. But, like, it's bad optics. Like, did they think about this? You bust the chops of every black player who wants an extension, but a white guy, it's like, oh my God.
There was, like, no word of Christian McCaffrey having any quarrels with
Again, I'm not calling the Niners racist because they're not. But they got to think about the optics. Optics matter.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk just bought a house. I get that he has to pay a mortgage, but we're running a business here. Christian McCaffrey has a wedding. Oh, well, we got to send party favors.
Think of this as a wedding gift.
A wedding gift. Yeah. Papa J asks, Grant, if you were running the 49ers, how much would you say that Brock is worth, in your opinion?
45. I'm right there with Kyle.
45?
Yeah. Because he's really good, but he's good in the context of the Niners structure right now. And I don't think you can take away a bunch of weapons and say that he'd be just as good. Like, you can do that with Josh Allen and Mahomes. Like, take away all their weapons, give them a freaking tight end and an offensive line and say, go be great. And they sure will. But Brock, I don't think he's that kind. I think he's like Dak, where he's a hell of a quarterback, but you can't just take away his weapons. So if you're paying him $60 million a year, I think you're in trouble. I think the Dolphins are in trouble. I think the Lions are in trouble long term. And I think the Niners will be in trouble if they do that. I think Kyle knows it. That's one thing I got to give him credit. He's not just super eager to spend hella money on a quarterback that he's not absolutely certain is elite. So be interesting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Mike.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, no. All of this with Ayuk and everything, and everything that you just said right now, it makes me wonder if the Niners could potentially put themselves in a spot next year, like in exactly a year from now, or actually 11 months from now, right when training camp starts, and it's like, where's the contract for Purdy? If they don't have another quarterback on the roster that can start games, could they be pinned into like, we need to get him out there before training camp? Because I feel like, with Ayuk or even Trent Williams, it's like, all right, this sucks, they're not here. But when it's the quarterback, I feel like it's a completely different story. Could that potentially force them into a spot where it's like, all right, fine, like, here you go,
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, but at the same time, if their plan is to lowball them and say, "Look, we love you, buddy, but you are partially a product of our system and our supporting cast, and you do acknowledge that. You need to give a little money back so we can keep it going." What if Brock says, "No, I want market rate," just like Brandon wanted market rate, and Bosa wanted market rate, and Trent wanted market rate, and Christian wanted market rate. Like, I want market rate. I've already played for free for 3 years. Like, you owe me money. You owe me millions of dollars. Absolutely not.
I guess. I was just gonna say, could you imagine if Brock Purdy, went on like interviews talking about receivers that he would love to throw to across the league and just pulled the Brandon Ayuk card?
I don't think he will. I just don't.
I don't think so either. But
does that mean that he's going to just like take the first offer the Niners give him and say, "Oh my God, thank you so much. It's so generous. Let's start OTAs." Like, I'm sure the Niners hope that, but I don't know.
Business is business. He's got to be.
Again, we talked about it creating a precedent, right? Like, if they cave to Ayuk now, they're asking for this to play out again next year with Purdy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just really quickly want to ask, we talked about what Brock Purdy has to do in order to earn that contract. Let's flip the coin and let's talk about what would Brock Purdy have to do in order to not earn, a massive extension from the 49ers. What would have to happen for that not to happen?
I don't see him having like a huge regression because I think he's a very good quarterback. But what if he gets injured again? What if he has another season-ending injury? That would be 2 and 3 years. And all of a sudden you're looking at him as like, okay, like, are you like Jimmy in the sense that like we just can't count on you to stay healthy? Because starting quarterbacks are supposed to be, available. And if his style of play, whatever, for whatever reason leads to big freaking injuries, then the Niners will hold that against him. I don't know. I mean, if Trent Williams isn't out there, all bets are off. And even if he is out there, that's one player. That would be one. I just don't see him like, well, he has thrown a bajillion interceptions in camp. If that actually becomes an issue and he starts throwing fewer touchdown passes and more picks, then that would be a problem. Because, I mean, you think we know Brock. I think he's 17-4 in his career. That's not a lot of games, man. What if he goes 6-10 this year? No one expects that to happen, but like that's almost half of his career, one season. So yeah, a lot at stake for him this year.
Mm-hmm. Question. So, I think last time we asked you about whether or not Kyle Shanahan goes and talks to the quarterbacks, and a lot of the 49er community completely dismisses anything bad that Brock Purdy does in training camp. Oh, he's testing things out, and you are regularly, you point them out, I just want to know, how does Kyle react when Brock Purdy throws those interceptions? Does he yell in the headset? Does he, how do you think Kyle Shanahan feels? I know it's hard to get in the mind of somebody else, but what do you think?
It's a great question. I can't answer honestly. I haven't been focusing on him. What I do is I watch Brock, and Brock gets pissed. He either gets pissed at himself or the receiver. He turns his head away. He does the chin strap pull. Like, if he was just trying things out, why would he be getting pissed? Brock's upset about it. So it doesn't seem like what he's trying to do. Yeah. And I don't think Kyle Shanahan's the kind of guy that like takes that in stride, because you're making his system look bad. Like, are you trying to imply, Brock, that his system leads to interceptions? I don't think so. It's you messing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. A+ answer. Just, so far you've got a perfect report card.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Valedictorian.